It's Monday, February 19th, 2024, and this is episode 303 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Well, Dr. Mike, you were right.
Yep.
San Francisco was the better team, but KC pulled it out.
Boy, it is so hard to bet against Mahomes. He certainly has a knack of pulling those games out.
Their season was just okay, right? I mean, they weren't a powerhouse by any means.
They won the division, but not with a great record, so they had to play the first week.
And, in the game itself, San Francisco got off to a pretty good start. It actually was not that entertaining a game till later on. Obviously, when it started getting close and then overtime and everything.
Right.
Overtime was interesting because they changed the rules for overtime this season for the postseason. And it's interesting because you didn't know about it. Some of the San Francisco players after the game said they didn't know about it.
Yeah. Well, was it publicized a lot?
Not very much, no.
Because I'm usually reading a lot and, sports stuff and looking at stuff. I didn't see that mentioned anywhere. I wouldn't have just read over that. I was like shocked. I was like, wait a minute.
The coaches, they all knew about it, and that's the important thing. But still, the players should know, realizing what they need to do or what they don't need to do.
Isn't there some team meeting where they say, okay, these are the changes this year?
Yeah. The difference is, for those who don't know, is that each team is guaranteed a possession, unless like the first score is a safety or something. So even if the team that has the ball first scores a touchdown, which would normally in the game in overtime during the regular season, the other team still gets a chance at the ball. To
tie it,
yes.
They can get a touchdown.
Yep.
Which was particularly important because I was thinking, pool-wise, we've won,
Yeah. So
they won't get the ball back.
Yeah, let's talk about some of these pools that we were in because we definitely had a lot of action going. Now, I put together a 100-square pool just for the poker night guys, and I was lucky enough to get the 0-0 square, and we were paying by the minute. So, I get all those when it's scoreless for the whole first quarter, right? I'm getting paid every minute.
Right.
And then eventually it was 10-0, so I get paid again. Also, listener Ryan entered us in a few of his 100-square pools, also paid by the minute. And I think we ended up with 11 payoffs, 10 in his $3 pool, and then like just 1 minute in his $1 pool. But, thank you very much, Ryan, because it was basically a donation to the show. He entered us into the pools for free. So thank you again for that.
Yes, very much.
The big win was thanks to you. Now, every year, listener Michael James puts together a postseason pool that's kind of like fantasy football. There's not like a draft or anything. Basically, there are all these different categories, and you pick players and or teams, and then you get points for how well they do in the playoffs.
Right.
And, of course, you want to try to pick teams and players that will ultimately go to the Super Bowl. Because, if all your players and teams are done before the Super Bowl where you can't get any more points at the end, so it's important to do that. You made the picks for us, as you do every year. And going into the Super Bowl, you basically said, we need Kelsey not to score, and we need their kicker to get a lot of points.
Yeah, kick some field goals.
Yeah, and extra points and stuff. And that's exactly the way it worked out. Mike, thanks to you, we won that big pool for Michael James.
Yeah, it was nice. It just worked out perfect. Well, we had the lead most of the way until the week before the Super Bowl when we dropped into second. Everybody had taken McCaffrey. Mm-hmm. So that's a wash because everyone's going to get whatever his points get.
Yeah.
And the only thing that differentiated like the top 15 was most of the people had Kelsey and we had the kicker for Kansas City. So it worked out. Thank you, Kelsey, for not scoring.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was quite a feat, Dr. Mike, because there were 63 entries in that pool.
Yeah.
He survived them all. So great job.
Thank you. It'll be the one win for, 5 years that we'll be talking about.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's nice that you won based on skill here. Since all those years that Ed O'Connor did the 33 pool, We never won. Everybody else won, seems like.
Right.
We never did. That was just luck.
And that was just luck. Yeah.
So nice that, you've got some skills, my friend.
Well, next year we'll win again, and then that'll really show up.
Yeah,
right?
and then Michael won't, enter us into the pool anymore.
Ever again.
You're retired.
Yeah. You're not invited.
You're going to the Hall of Fame. That's an honor. You can't play anymore.
Your number's retired. Even though I, picked KC, I was deep down inside hoping San Francisco won.
I kind of was too. I didn't really care. Ultimately, I wanted an interesting game, and it didn't really matter. If you're like me, your allegiance kind of changes during the game based on things that happen. If I see a real bonehead play, I'm thinking, okay, well, they deserve to lose. Now I hope they lose.
Well, and I'm an underdog guy, so I'm a lot of times rooting for whoever's losing.
Yeah. Right. Well,
I want him to come back.
And we know you're definitely an overtime guy.
Yeah, I'm every Super Bowl. Unless the Chargers are ever in a Super Bowl again, I want overtime.
It's interesting, too. I was thinking about this, Mike. I was mentioning on the last episode how my dad really wasn't a gambler, but he loved getting into all these sports pools that we did. Remember the football pool every week, March Madness, that kind of thing?
Right.
So that was definitely something he loved. And bringing him up, too, I want to thank everybody who has reached out to me since our last episode. Thank you so much. It means just the world to me that you reached out. Certainly my family is really going to miss him. So, again, thank you.
Oh, he was a great guy.
Yeah.
Mark, you couldn't ask for a better dad.
Yeah,
I really, honestly.
Well, if you do recall on the last episode, Mike, we were recording on a Saturday where I was going to go to our friend Dave's poker tournament that night.
Right.
And I did not place in the money. I didn't even make the final table. You certainly need a lot of luck in tournaments, and especially a tournament like Dave's, because, boy, especially as the night goes on, those blinds go up really quick. You got to be getting some cards. You can't just go on your play. I
mean, it always boils down to that. You got to get some cards.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to survive longer if you're a good player, but in the end, you really need to get cards.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the first table I was at was a particularly juicy table. I won a lot of pots. Boy, it seemed like everybody wanted to give me their chips. There was one player at the table who had not played in a long time, and it showed. He was way overplaying his hands. He was kind of confused when action was on him, and he was losing quite a bit. And at the first break, I kind of pulled him aside and I said, "Hey, I kind of felt sorry for him. You're really overplaying your hands. You need to be aggressive here. Don't go in here, et cetera, et cetera." He said, "Oh, thanks very much."
And then he walked away thinking, "What a jerk!" Telling me how to play.
What I do. Well, when we came back from break, he was extremely short-stacked. And everybody at the table was kind of giving him advice at this point. It's like, look, you've got to go all in now, no matter what you have. Because even if you double up here, you're going to be super short-stacked. He said, "Oh, I understand." He actually had a good hand. He went in. He ended up tripling up. Two of us called him, and he ended up with the best hand. So he ended up tripling up. Yeah. So you probably know where this story's going.
Yep, I can kind of get the hint here.
He won the tournament.
He
won the whole tournament. He took out Chris. He took out me. After that moment, we're thinking, wait a minute, was he just playing us? No, he wasn't. He was getting some cards towards the end.
Right.
We're thinking, oh, man, he's going in. It's like, what? Yeah, he won the whole tournament.
What's funny is everyone afterwards thinking, "Damn it, Mark, what'd you talk to him for?"
Right, that's what I'd play.
Should have just let him play.
Oh, but
that just goes to show you what happens when you're nice.
That's right. Well, our friend Gary, I don't think he listens to the show, so I'm just going to say this. You had a poker tournament years ago.
Pretty big one, too.
Yeah.
There was quite a few people.
He didn't know what he was doing. He claimed that he read like a Phil Hellmuth book right before he came over, right?
Right.
And he ended up winning. So...
Yeah.
Anyway, another great tournament. Dave puts on a great tournament. Well, I invited some of the poker night guys who had not been to his tournament before. And afterwards they were saying, "Wow, that's a great tournament. He really does a good job running it." I mean, just for a, neighborhood poker tournament, he does do a great job. And this year was no exception.
It's professional, like a casino was running it.
Yeah.
Everything's timed right. And It just runs really smooth.
Yeah.
And he always has a lot of M&Ms, which I like.
So many M&Ms. It's so good. Yeah. Sometimes it's peanut, sometimes peanut butter, sometimes plain, but it's always one of those big Costco jars. So.
Right. And you know what's best is if you mix all three of those. So you just never
think
know what
so?
you're getting.
Now, I'm in agreement with you, but I'm sure there are plenty of listeners who would say, no.
Yeah. So. There's people who don't like peanut butter, but I mean, that's so foreign to me, but there are people who don't like peanut butter.
Yeah. People without peanut allergies who don't like peanut butter.
Peanut butter, right. Well, there are people with peanut allergies that love peanut butter. They just can't eat it.
Yeah.
So that makes even the people who don't like peanut butter and don't have allergies even dumber.
Oh my gosh. The gall of those people. Do you know there are people who love peanut butter and can't eat it? And you won't even touch the stuff?
And you won't even touch it. Well, I know somebody close to me that won't eat peanut butter and jelly.
Really?
They'll eat a peanut butter sandwich or a jelly and toast, but not peanut butter and jelly.
I don't even want to hear this. Who is it?
It's someone very, very close to me.
Okay, don't say who it is then. I don't want to.
Yes, I can.
I don't want to embarrass her.
Yeah, she'll listen to the show. I give her a hard time all the time. I mean, that's just insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We all have our little nuances that
all of us do.
Different.
We've all got our crazy beliefs.
Like I actually think someday I'm going to have like a winning crap session.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Oh my gosh, the delusion. Well, Mike, on our last episode, Dr. Taylor called in with a story about how he was sitting next to a woman playing double-double bonus video poker. And she discarded the important kicker that she had after she was dealt quad aces. And it was a multi-play game. You know, it was terrible. She had, discarded a 2 or something like that, the one that gives you the extra. And I went on to say, the difference there is that if you have the kicker, it pays $2,000 for one. And if you don't have the kicker, it only pays $800 for one. And leave it to Jim from New York to catch my error. I think I made this error before, and he caught it as well. It's not $2,000 for one and $800 for one. It's $2,000 for 5 and $800 for 5, because of course you're playing max coins, which is 5 coins.
So you're $4 off.
Well, I guess you could put it that way. I was so intent on saying 4-1 instead of 2-1. That was the important thing to me, that I got the numbers wrong. And Dr. Mike, I know it's the lying that you don't like.
I do not appreciate the lying.
Yeah.
Thank God we've got Jim. Because he's always on top of everything.
He corrects us more than anybody else, and he's always right. Yeah. He goes back and checks NFL scores from the early 80s to make sure that we're not lying.
That sounds like you, Mark.
It does sound like I'm calling into 500 saying, Tim, 10 years ago on one of your episodes. Yeah.
So I think that Jim is to you as you are to me.
Okay.
Right?
I'll give you that.
One of these IQ test things. Jim is to you as who would be to Mike.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because he's got perfect Pai-Gow tile strategy memorized.
Yes.
Right? And I don't. Meanwhile, I've got blackjack basic strategy memorized. You think you do, but I really do.
Yeah. Most of the time I get it right.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Jim.
Yeah. Keep us honest, Jim. Keep us honest.
Now, Mike, you typically go to Diamond Joe Worth for your crap sessions. Sometimes you go to Wisconsin, that kind of thing. But normally it's Diamond Joe Worth that you go to. Yeah,
just because it's a Boyd casino, so I can use those points and stuff for traveling and stuff like that.
Yeah. But a while back, you did go to Diamond Joe Dubuque. Correct. And you gave us a great trip report on that. And I think one of the dealers asked you a question, and I'm trying to remember what that was.
They definitely wanted to know when I was going to be back. One of the dealers asked me, what would it take for me to stop going to Diamond Joe Worth and come there instead? And I'm like, well, I don't know. It's 2.5 hours here and it's 2 hours and maybe 10 minutes there. So it's 20 minutes difference, which is not a big deal, but that's 40 minutes round trip.
Sure. So what was your answer to this guy?
Well,
what would it take?
I said, I don't know, but I'll probably come here maybe once a month.
Okay.
Maybe once every 6 weeks. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Now, this was about 9 months ago. So, say every 6 weeks. What have you gone? About 5 or 6 times then since that initial time?
Funny you mentioned this, Mark, because I am going tomorrow morning down to Dubuque.
Okay. Now, that wasn't my question. I want to know how many times you've been since then.
To meet Michael James, because it's closer for him to go there. I'm making a special trip for him. So the answer to your question after tomorrow will be once.
Okay. All right. Very good. So you are going back to Diamond Joe Dubuque. You're going to see our good friend Michael James. Excellent.
It's like 2.5 almost hours for me, and it's 2.5 for him.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
To get there. Yeah. But if we go to Diamond Joe, I can get there now in about an hour 50. I take some back road shortcuts. But it takes Michael James like 3.5 hours.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
4 hours or something like that. So he said he wanted to go, and I said, well, we'll go to Dubuque because it's easier for him.
Well, good luck tomorrow, Dr. Mike. Now, unfortunately, this episode is going to drop after you've already been, so we can't
on the next episode, you'll find out how I did.
Yeah, we'll find out. And then come back next episode and tell us how many times you're going to go this year.
You're right. Well, I'll talk to the dealers and see. Remember me? Oh, yeah, you're the idiot. He said he was coming here more often than you didn't.
Any plans to go to the other casino there?
Oh, gosh, Dubuque? Maybe we will, because
that's also something you mentioned when you gave this initial report was, you'd like to go back to check out the other casino as well.
Yeah, maybe I'll make a point of checking that out tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
See what it's about.
All right, good. Again, good luck.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's move on to voicemails. First up is Jessica.
Hi, guys. It's Jessica from Missouri. I just wanted to call and give you a trip report. I did go to my local casino. I know I'm complaining about the comps being ridiculous, but I just love the people there, and it's so close to home, and, I get my fix. But the report that I have is that I finally played craps. So I have been a hoverer for a little while, just watching and being super intimidated. But, Dr. Mike is right. The best way to cure your scaredness of craps is just to play. Or was that Mark that said that? I think it was Dr. Mike. Anyway, so that's what I did. So I went last night. I took $100. It's $10 minimum, and it's 10 times odds on the table. So I was playing the pass line, $10, and then I was doing 5 on odds. And I remember that you guys had said, I can't remember if it was Sherry or Lynn, that they always end up leaving with money because they play super conservative like that. And I really just felt like I wanted to play, but I still not really comfortable doing a whole bunch of craziness on the table. So I played, had a really, really, really good time. I love it. I can see why craps is a really, really fun game. One of my times I was rolling, one of the dice flew off the table twice in a row. So after that, I asked for new dice because I told them that one apparently had wings. So they gave me new dice for that. And sometimes I would play on the 6 and the 8, but so my brain is always on blackjack because I'm a blackjack player, or have been. Clearly I'm going to go to craps now because it's a lot more fun. You're right about that. But with blackjack, like everything besides the hand is a side bet. So I was thinking about with the craps table, that's kind of like that in a way. So the pass line and the odds, it's like your hand, and then everything else is like a side bet in a way. That's kind of what my brain was thinking, Anyway, it's a fun game, and so I'm really glad that I got over my scaredness, and I went and I played. Oh, and I did talk to one of the dealers, though, about comps, because I was telling him about my card, and having my little complaining session, and he said if I ever win a jackpot on the slot machines, that Caesars will actually pay, send me on trips and stuff like that. I don't know if you have to be a high roller to get those or not, but I think that I'll probably never win a jackpot hand pay on a slot machine. I keep trying and it never happens. So maybe I should be trying for a royal flush. Anyway, guys, I got my shirt, so I ordered the new You Can Bet on That shirt, and I love it. It's soft and comfortable and nice, and I love it. So I just thought I would tell you guys that, and I appreciate it. Okay, bye.
Oh, great. Thanks, Jessica. We
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, we've convinced another person to play craps.
Yes, and it sounds like she had a good time. What do you think about her theory that the pass line and odds, that's your hand, and everything else is a side bet?
It's not a bad theory.
I
really.
love it. Yeah. It's kind of like, you're
not a
right.
bad theory.
It's the game with the most side bets. Right?
Yep, right.
Yeah.
The game with the most side bets.
Yeah.
I'd like to play that game with the most side. Oh, that's craps, sir.
Yeah, right over this way. I'm glad she had a good time. Yeah, it was you, Dr. Mike, who said, don't be scared. And
don't be scared. Yeah. You know
advice.
what, Mark? We're going to heaven for sure, you and I, because the devil's going to be so happy. We convinced so many people to play craps that he's going to give us a free pass.
Oh, I see. So the devil is so happy with our behavior that he's letting us go to heaven.
Yeah, no matter what we do.
Fantastic.
So you got that going for you.
You know, Jessica, this dealer that told you, oh, yeah, hit a big jackpot and Caesars will pay for everything. No.
Yeah.
That you'd have to have a pretty big jackpot hit, and then maybe they'd only give you some stuff right away to try to get their money back. Like, oh, we'll put you in a suite and, this kind of thing. No, it's based on consistent play. So, yeah, I know you're disappointed with the comps that you're getting there. But just hitting a jackpot, boy, especially even just a royal flush in like a dollar video poker game, they might be happy for you and, again, say congratulations and may comp you dinner or something, but that's about it.
I think what they're looking for is they're looking for people who are willing to play a certain amount of time at a certain dollar level.
Oh, yeah, of course.
They don't really care if you won a jackpot or you win every time you come or you lose every time you come. They're just looking for people who are going to consistently play for a certain amount of time. That way they know that you're going to put some time in there and they have the advantage. So, chances are over the long haul, they're going to win.
Yeah, it's based on action. It's based a little bit on your tier level, but even then, some people get the higher tier levels by tier matching or something. It's really based on the play that you give them and other factors. How long has it been since you've been at the property? Maybe they'll kind of sweeten the deal, how far away you live from the property. There's all sorts of things. But hitting a big jackpot, that's probably not going to move the needle very far.
Yeah, he's saying that to get you to have hope.
Or just didn't know what he was talking about. I'm thinking
or
that's
that,
more likely, yeah. All right, next call.
Hey, Mark, Dr. Mike. This is Dalton from the Knoxville area. We just got back from a 7-day cruise on the Carnival Mardi Gras. It was our first time on one of the big ships. Definitely had a lot of amenities. Awesome time there. Casino-wise, it was my first time actually playing craps on a table and not on my phone. Had a couple of decent rolls, nothing crazy. A lot of 0.7 outs. Highlight being my first roll ever. One of the gentlemen at the table had a bet on the hard 8. He asked me to roll it. I said hard 8 coming up, and I actually did. Probably be the only time that happens in my life, but we had a good time. Blackjack was $10 minimums. Craps was $15. Played several hours of blackjack. Beat us up the first couple of nights. Able to play a little bit longer for the rest of the cruise. Nothing crazy, but we enjoyed it. And guys want to play it on the show? Have fun. See ya.
All right. Thanks for the report. There you go, Dr. Mike, another first-time player.
Yep. They always win, Mark.
Yep. We're going to heaven.
It will be funny when it really happens.
What's really going to be funny is when the second one of us shows up in heaven, the first one to go there is going to, you made it too.
You made it too. It's going to be me going first, right?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is Raji.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Raji from San Diego. I thought I'd call with a trip report from last year. Right now it's about 10 o'clock at night, and I guess you're not answering your phones. Maybe a little bit too late. Anyway, I want to say hi to Billy D from Boise to begin with. I got Billy D onto your podcast a couple of years back, and he's been a loyal listener ever since. Took a great trip last year. Actually had about 4 trips to Vegas, which I was very fortunate to be able to go to. But one particular trip in November, with COVID and everything, we finally had a chance to get a big group trip We were actually staying downtown. A couple of stories I wanted to share with you. The first, I don't know if you remember, I had written in before. I have started to play the hard ways at $5, parlaying them up to 50 to 500, and then hoping to get from 500 to 5,000. I've been able to get to 500 about 5 or 6 times and hit it once for the 5,000. But in this instance, we were at the Golden Gate Casino, and it was Billy D that was with me. We started at 5, and I can't remember if it was the hard 6 or the 8, but it hit. We got to 50. It hit again, and they were getting ready to pay us, and both Billy D and I said, we want to parlay it to 500. And at that point, the stick person kind of looked at the manager there and was kind of shrugging his shoulders, asking, can we do that? So the floor person was there, and the floor person also didn't know if we could do that. So they were actually going through the file cabinet looking for the rules. They pulled out what looked like about a 15 or 20 page document that was stapled in the upper left corner, and they were actually flipping and rifling through the pages, trying to see if we were able to place a $500 hardways bet at the Golden Gate. It was actually quite humorous. They had to stop the game. They held up the game. Fortunately, the majority of the people on the table were with our group. I can imagine if somebody wasn't with our group, they might have been a bit annoyed that the game got held up. But they eventually did let us make the $500 bet. Unfortunately, that $500 hardways did not hit, but Billy D and I almost broke the Golden Gate Casino with our $500 hard 6, hard 8 bet. The other story I wanted to tell, something we started when we all started going to Vegas about 30 years ago, was a $100 chip bet. Back then, everybody would kick in $5 or $10 and give somebody a $100 chip to bet. When we were in our early 20s, it was a very big deal. We're all about 30 years older, and it still is a very big deal to bet a black chip for us. But fortunately, we're at the point now where I had one friend who was able to give me a $100 black chip as a birthday gift, and his only rule was that he did not want me to bet it on, let's say, a blackjack bet or a black-red roulette bet. He wanted me to have something that would give a little bit better payout, a little bit better odds. So we've got a friend who is the most amazing roller of sixes that I've ever seen. He can hit sixes, it seems like, every time we play. It's nothing but 6, 6, 6, and another 6, 6, 6. So anyway, I waited until it was his turn to roll. He was standing right next to the stick person. I was more towards the end of the table, and of course, he rolled, come out with a 6. I looked at my friend and kind of gave him the nod, and my friend nodded back. And I didn't want my buddy to know, who was rolling, that I was about to place a $100 hard 6 bet. So I gently slid it to the stick person and quietly asked the stick person just place it on a hard 6 without the roller, who was my buddy, knowing. About 2 or 3 rolls later, he did end up hitting a hard 6. That was very exciting. I decided to bump it up to $500, keep a $500 profit, and that $500 hard 6 did not hit, but that was a lot of fun. And good things come around. The buddy of mine who did give me a $100 chip ended up hitting a NASCAR race that weekend. He had $10 on the driver at 30 to 1 who ended up winning. So good news all around. Thanks for everything you do. Your show is wonderful. And good luck to you and Dr. Mike the next time you're at the casinos.
All right. Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you. Those are good stories.
Yeah, very good. And congratulations on some good hits. Mike, don't you think someone on the crew or the pit or the box would know all the maximums on the center action at a craps table?
Yes. I mean, the boxman didn't know?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Everyone should know. The dealers usually know what's the max they take.
Yeah, I know they have some break-in dealers at Golden Gate who are maybe, they don't know. But yeah, right. The box, and they have boxmen at Golden Gate. So, right. Sometimes it's based on what the payout would be. So,
right, if the payout's above the max table.
Yeah, or something like that, they could, figure it out quickly. Yeah, that surprises me.
Yeah, now, I would like to say it surprises me, Mark. Yeah. But it doesn't really surprise me. It just makes me kind of nauseous, actually.
You don't need to be nauseated thinking about the crew not knowing the maximums on all the bets. There are a lot more things you should be worried about.
They should know the maximums on everything. I mean, isn't there like a little cheat sheet they carry in their pocket?
You think it would be something, honestly, that was a little quicker than opening up a bunch of pages and flipping through them. Yeah, they're just...
Wait a minute. These are my biology notes. This doesn't make any sense at all.
Good stories,
Well,
Roger.
what they need, I mean, we've already gone over this, right? A big marquee sign thing that flashes on and off and has all kinds of information.
That'll be one of the things.
Like,
if you
the max bet on our Hardwick.
If you stare at the sign for at least 25 minutes, that'll come up.
Yeah,
the maximum on a hard 6.
And the moment it comes up, you'll be looking the other way.
Yeah.
And the guy will say, oh, you just missed it.
It only stays up for a couple seconds.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
25 minutes.
A lot of information you got to get on that side.
Minutes.
All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Pat from New Jersey. I just listened. I've been working through the back episodes because I found you guys like sometime last year, and I just listened to the Tabletop Puncher. That was an April Fool's episode. Oh my God, I was laughing so hard. I thought I was going to like hurt myself. The best. I don't know what was better. Dr. Mike's comment he just slipped in there about the reason why you pick birthdays for the lottery is because more people were born on those days. It was like so subtle and just dropped in. Or the reference to when the craps dealers aren't dealing, when no one's playing at the Excalibur, the dealers are doing interpretive dance. I got to tell you, that was some of the best content I've heard in a while. So keep it up. Love the show, and just had to share how hard you guys made me laugh and how much I enjoy what you're doing. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Pat. Yeah, a little love for our old April Fool's episode. You know, people who are going back and listening to those shows for the first time, they don't have the advantage of realizing that we dropped that episode on April Fool's Day. So, you know, people who listened to it when it first came out, they might have been prepared for it. And don't we, I think we say like from Salt Lake City, Utah, you can something like that, right? Which is, you know, it's not even the city we're in. So, you know, some people might be caught off guard. I know there was somebody who said they were listening to it and we were talking about how you should always take insurance in blackjack, and them starting to get really mad, like they were going to contact us. You guys don't know what you're talking about. So, glad you liked it, Pat.
We should start telling people, like new listeners, oh, you listened to the most recent show. Well, go back to episode, you know, that's really where we started.
Yeah, that's where we really started to take the show seriously. So, that's where we, All right, last call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is William calling from Fort Worth. It's been a while since I've called in, but I've, of course, been listening. And I wanted to give a shout-out to Black Hawk. My wife and I, we went to see an Ed Sheeran concert and flew out to Denver, I think it was September, and I was disappointed that the weather in Denver was going to be 96 or 8. So I was like, all right, that's not good. We're going to Colorado. We want cooler weather. So I booked a room at the Ameristar in Black Hawk. So we flew in, went to the concert, and then I just showed major restraint from consumption. And we drove out, I think it was a little hour, maybe a little more, out to Black Hawk that evening. And then we stayed for 2 full days there. So I guess 3 nights at the Ameristar. And it's funny because we walked in and we was like, oh, well, we better get our player's card. And I guess maybe I'd heard of Penn or Penn National, whatever the brand is. And I said, we should get cards, never been here. And we signed it. They're like, oh, William, here, you've got this much free play from your last trip somewhere. So I have no idea where I got a card, but of course made my wife think I'm more of a degenerate than we knew I was. Because apparently I've been somewhere and played a lot because I got a reasonable amount of free play. But anyway, but no, the town was really cool for gamblers. If you're not a gambler, I don't know what you do there, because there are a bunch of different casinos, a few that are nice, Ameristar, and then Monarch, I think is the nice one. Those are the two. And then there's a few medium ones, and then several that are just old mining town, kind of really small slot only stuff. So there will be a few, I would guess maybe 4 that have a craps table, maybe 5 the others. But we just had so much fun walking through town, you know, playing 30 minutes of slots here, having a drink, going to the next one, just like we do in Vegas, having a drink, play slots. One of them in particular, I can't remember the name of it, but it was this old saloon. You walk through swinging doors. The guy got us a drink, and then we walked to another set of swinging doors into this probably room where there were 70 slot machines maybe. And then here he comes 10 minutes later. So he was the server out there as well as in the saloon, just super friendly. Everybody was so nice. We had some good food. Just a really good vibe for gamblers. And if you like to play slots, you can just walk around and do that all day long. And they really appreciate your business. So I'd highly recommend it. We would go back in a second. It'll be fun. And your latest episode made me think, okay, I need to send this in. Because it was cool, really cool. That's it. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Okay, yeah, good. Thanks for the
thanks.
report. Like we mentioned on the previous episode, listeners Melissa and Thomas are organizing a trip to Black Hawk. Looks like it's going to be June 6th through the 9th, just that first weekend in June. Sherry and I plan on going. Mike, you said you and Lynn plan on going. Yep. I know Eric Rosenthal plans on going. Tim Lawson from The Better Life just recently said he can probably make it as well. So again, this is not like some formal, here's where we all meet and here's where we get together and we're having dinner here and then we're having, crap session here. No, it's just that's when we're going. And we're all going to be in Black Hawk. And yeah, definitely looking forward to it.
It sounds really good. There's a lot of casinos there and there's a lot of choices and stuff. So I really want to go to a casino that has like saloon doors that you walk in.
Okay. Now, it might only be a slot joint, but you're okay with that?
Well, I'm okay. I just want to walk through those doors.
Okay.
I just want to walk through the doors and flip a coin onto some kind of counter and say, give me a whiskey.
All right.
And then I'm done. I can go.
Okay, so you won't even gamble
the craps table.
Yeah,
no, we'll go by the craps table.
Yeah. Never done that before, huh? Never went to like Knott's Berry Farm and walked through the swinging doors.
Actually, I have, but that's make believe.
Yeah, that's true. It's not a real saloon. You're right.
It's not a real saloon.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, definitely looking forward to that. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Hey, we want to thank some people for some recurring donations. From Kurt, from Robin Aubin at NE Time Gambling, from Nathan, from Brian Dancer, and a recurring donation from the International Brotherhood of Gobbling Donkeys. New recurring donations, new group. What do you think of that, Dr. Mike?
I like gobbling donkeys?
Yeah. It's probably something extremely rude that we should put an explicit warning on the show, but I don't know what it means, so there you go.
Yeah, as long as you don't know what it means, you can't. I mean, how can you ban it?
Yeah. We also got a donation from listener Daniel. This is half of what I netted in my college football bowl pick'em this past year after covering my entry fee. I love the show. Thanks for all you do. Please come gamble with me in Oklahoma, and I promise to cover all of your antes and buy you each one well drink. Oh, we'll have to take you up on that, Daniel. And
nice,
Paul... Right, he moved pretty close to the Oklahoma state line there, right? In Texas.
Very close to the state line.
He's like less than 2 hours from WinStar Casino. So,
is he? Okay.
We've got an extra reason to go. Yeah, we might have to do that soon.
Yeah, especially if I get the VIGs paid for me.
I know. I don't want to have to pay an ante at a craps table. That's crazy.
That's insane. I got to save my money for stupid bets.
We also got a donation from Nathan. Here is $25 for Dr. Mike's school, but please take the $25 and put it on midnight when you go to the casino. If you win, give the proceeds to the school. If you lose, then here's an additional $25 to replace the lost bet. And $25 more so you don't feel irresponsible for gambling the kids' donation in the first place. After all, the kids deserve a shot at a big win too, don't they? Best, Nathan R. from West Palm Beach, Florida.
Best donation ever. Right there. Best donation ever. He's covered all the bases.
Yeah, he's got everything, no matter what happens. Everybody wins.
Yeah, and nobody feels bad about it.
Also a donation from Texas Rob. Mark and Dr. Mike, karma donation for a 4-night trip for the Rock and Roll Half Marathon with my son and some friends. Please give yourself a $10 tip and pass the rest to Dr. Mike's school fund. Keep up the great work, Texas Rob. Good. Yeah, and I sent that money along to you, Dr. Mike. So again,
yes, thank you very much. It all has been put to good use. We still have a few things to buy, and I think we have plenty of money to do it. So
that's great. Also, a donation from Jeff from Round Rock, Texas. Condolences, Mark. Sorry to hear about your father. Well, thank you very much, Jeff. I appreciate it. Thanks to you both for all the great content. Hoping for some good karma for an upcoming 3-night trip with a couple buddies. March 3rd to the 6th with comped rooms at the Cromwell. Oh, excellent. Well, good luck, Jeff.
We've never stayed there.
We've never stayed there. In any incarnation. right?
Yeah.
When it was Bill's Gambling Hall, and before that, Barbary Coast. And finally, a donation from Raji, who we heard from earlier. Thank you very much. Hey, at the top of our webpage, you'll find a link to our store where you can buy You Can Bet on That t-shirts. Also, you can find a list of all the gambling-related shows coming up on American television at youcanbetonThat.com/TV-listings. And we've got a list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonThat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. What do you got for us, Dr. Mike?
Well, Mark, football's over.
Mm-hmm.
Although there is a new league coming up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's fine.
Those two leagues. And then baseball.
Yes. Pitchers and catchers reporting.
Yep. I love it.
Yep.
Somebody asked me recently, the Padres going to make it to the World Series this year? No.
I just don't even answer people who ask me anymore. Because the answer really is they should have last year. Right. And that's the end of it.
Right. And the same with the Chargers. When they ask
me
now,
I'm not sure who you're talking about.
I just laugh and walk away. This is their year. Yeah. So anyway, we do have a lot of fun stuff coming up. I love baseball because it's every night.
Every night a score. Yeah, exactly. I am the same way. Yep. I
can come home and watch Padre games. Yep. I don't like sometimes that they start a little late here, but it's the price I pay.
Yeah, it sure is. The weather is the price you pay. Late start games is the price you pay.
Yeah.
Not going to the casino with me. That's the biggest
big
price, Dr. Mike.
That's a big price. But there are some benefits, Mark.
I guess.
There are some benefits. Pretty much ice skate anytime you want.
Okay.
If you
send me a video if you go ice skating anytime soon, Dr. Mike.
If you like 30-mile-an-hour freezing wind below zero, we've got plenty of that this week. We haven't got much snow actually, but it turned really cold here recently, and it's like 12, and then the wind blows at 30, and it's minus 10.
Yeah.
So that has nixed a lot of my ice skating.
All right. Well, Dr. Mike, again, good luck tomorrow.
Yep.
We will talk to everybody in a couple of weeks. Thanks for listening.
All righty. Good night.
Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5.